Good afternoon. I call to order the GCC board meeting, regular board meeting at 4:52. Welcome, everyone. Roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Here.
Mr. Block,
Here.
Mr. Mandrick. He is coming, I believe. Mr. Turner
Here.
and Campbell here. So we have present 4 of our board members at this time. And we will go on, and I think Mr. Manager will be joining us soon. So again, welcome everyone. Do we have public comments? Mr. Jace, Mr. Sample?
There are
Or
no public comments tonight.
no public comments, okay? Has Mr. Mandrick joined us yet? He has not. We are going into closed session. There are 2 items for closed session. The first item will be conference regarding real estate negotiations pursuing to Government Code 54956.b, property 02303111012000. The second item will be in closed session, employee personnel matter pursuing to Government Code Section 54957. So we will go into closed session, and Mr. Mandrick, present. Thank you for being here. So with that, we will now go into closed session, and we will come back and report out after closed session.
Okay, Jason, Sample, are we all back?
I see leave, but it doesn't say room, and I don't want to leave because I don't.
No, you don't
No,
need to.
you're back. You're
Oh,
back.
We
Everyone's
are all
back.
back. So
everybody's back.
yeah.
Okay, let me. Okay, so we're all here. Hello. Yes. All right, and now we're back from closed session, and we report no action taken, information only. So with that, we will continue with our regular board meeting, which is now the superintendent's update. So, Dr. Peterson,
Yes,
we
ma'am.
on you. There you are.
All right, just got to find my notes. Here they are. Am I still with you? As
Yes.
I look at my notes. Okay, good. So just want to welcome everyone and thank them for their patience while we were away in closed session, and welcome back into open session with us. We're honored that we have you here with us at our board meeting today. Also, my first order of business is I want to welcome our new Director of Business Services, Ms. Lynch, and she was formerly of Sierra College. We're very happy to have her. She's already been out on a site visit today with Erin Thornsbury, so we're excited to see her step into her position. So welcome, Sue Lynn. And then we want to talk a little bit about current events. We want to recognize that looking in my journal a few days back, it became clear that we had reached the 1 year mark, our anniversary of the closure of school and such due to the pandemic. March 13th, I believe, was our last in-person instruction day before we went into distance learning. So we recognize a long year and really want to recognize staff for all they've done in that time, and the board to make all this work for our students. We wanted to say that as an organization, we are acutely aware of the recent violence against Asian Americans in our country and have communicated out to staff and our community that we condemn these showings of hate and violence, and that it is our job as staff, community, students to help stop that hate. Also want to recognize that between going into red tier and getting new direction from everyone about how far apart every student can be, we are returning to instruction and changing things in a variety of ways as the new information changes. Most of that new information is around COVID-19, as you know, and Mr. Sample, Dr. McCormick, and I continue to attend state and local public health meetings, as well as monitor the various daily updates from all those people. We monitor all of the ongoing changes and trends, and also the recent information shared by the governor regarding school opening. More of that will come out in your study session item later today. But that updated guidance now has gone from CDC to CDPH and SCPH to have updated their guidance and allow for 3 feet of separation. Understand that that is only while in the classroom. In hallways and adult to student and adult to adult is still 6 feet. But that 3 feet separation of desks in the classroom is helping us serve more students. So we're working closely with our sites how to support that. And that 3 feet together with the red tier also allowed us to begin our middle school and high school work more thoroughly. Today, I was blessed to be able to be out at Saba Sac City on our Power In site and to do a site walkthrough with staff and some others in regard to some proposed expansions that are occurring later today. Really want to affirm the site for their vision, for their student focus, and for their creative and innovative ways that they serve students. Additionally, Mr. Business, myself, and Jerry Little and others did a walkthrough of our modular project at HLA. Can't wait to be able to take our board to see this great project. But we went into some classrooms and we talked about, the positives and what we might have done differently, which weren't very many of those things, but it's very beautiful. You can hardly tell that it's an after ad. It looks like it was made to be part of the HLA campus, which is quite amazing, really. Many of our staff attended the CCSA conference recently virtually. It was an entire week of conferencing via a digital platform, but there was a lot of good material and everybody came away with some learning. We continue to do our summer school planning and discussion. More of that will be brought to you at a later date, but it continues to be important that we significantly hit the aspects of learning loss with first having very clear assessments of where students are, where they need to be, what needs to be done to help them, but also in that meaningful instructional planning, including how to take care of their persons emotionally, mentally, because we have a lot of trauma in our various student populations that we also need to address. The STEM Center, as you know, had a significant issue and has not been available to us. We are continuing to work with the city of Sacramento regarding possible options. At this time, they don't have a viable option for our students, but we're continuing to explore and bring up creative options. At this point, we haven't even been able to have access in order to file our insurance claims because the city has made clear that the building is not safe. So it is some time away before we can access the site and before we can get a clearer sense of when we can go back in and serve students there. We continue our big push on learning and professional development. We had our first 2021 teacher leader meeting with Lyle Kirkman and I, and cohorts 1 and 2 came together using the Zoom platform, and it was a great conversation with our teacher leaders about what they've learned as they've taught in the pandemic and what they think they might bring forward after the pandemic from that learning. Both Jason and I attended an incredible UCLA, sorry, that was a big problem, UCLA Advancing Equity and Improving Outcomes webinar with Dr. Pedro Noguera, and it was very informative. We continue to do our social emotional learning focus through the Wellness Together webinar series. We recently had our third session of this year's Leadership Development Academy. It was very well attended. It was taught by Jason Sample and Sergey Terekhov on the topic of equity and culturally responsive leadership. Got great feedback on that, and our next one will be April 12th on the politics of leadership. So really, we have about 40 people, I think, who've been showing up for LDA, so that's a good group. We continue our work with equity. We've been working for over, I want to say almost 2 years with Anderson and Associates, particularly in the futures work that we've been doing around equity, but also at the middle school and EPIC, I believe we've started some work with Anderson and Associates, but now they are also doing something GCC wide. On April 5th, we have a staff development day, and everyone in the GCC, including the central office, will be attending implicit bias training on that day. Very excited to see how that goes down and the results. So we're hoping that each of our school sites will take that conversation and delve deeper into it. So continuing to build on our equity work at Futures and expanding it, and we've had a lot of growth. And lastly, we are doing our planning with Hanover on how we go deeper. You'll remember that you approved a contract at our last time together to go into our second year of work with them. It continues to be around equity and data usage, but we're going to focus it around learning loss and social emotional learning and trauma-informed instruction and mathematics, all in one big melting pot. So we have a lot of work to do with Hanover. I will say one other thing, facilities continues to be an area that we are monitoring closely. Just a reminder that the district is doing some surplusing of district facilities that we're trying to keep an eye on as regards to our possible interest in district facilities that are being surplused, and also that our Saba North Natomas site may have an opportunity for us to purchase as well. So don't want you to be caught unawares that those different areas of facilities are under review and consideration. So That is it, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Board members, any comments, any questions, or anything for the superintendent? Seeing none, seeing no hands again. Thank you, Superintendent Peterson, for your hard work. Cabinet, all of you. We really appreciate all of the things that you do day after day to keep the organization going. So we thank you, and we appreciate your bringing back the information to us, what is going on. Anything else from any of the board members? All right, seeing no hands, we will move into the next item, which is our study session, school reopening update.
And that, as you
You're ready.
know, is Jason Sample and Dr. Christine McCormick.
We are ready.
All right. Thank you very much. Good evening, Board President, members of the board, Dr. Peterson. Dr. McCormick and I would like to share with you a little bit about what's happening with the school reopening. And sorry about that. I had my microphone up. And I will start off by kind of giving you an update of where we are, and then Dr. McCormick will take you through where our schools are. So the first one, as we go to the next slide, is just to let you know where we are in terms of our area. Sacramento County still today remains in the red with a 7-day adjusted case rate of 7. And Yolo County actually today moved from the red to the orange. And so the adjusted case rate for Yolo County is 2.7. In both counties, we do continue to see, again, as vaccination rates increase, we actually begin to see the adjusted case rate metrics change. And so we're continuing to watch that. But as of today, Sacramento's red, Yolo County is orange. One of the things that we want to, continue to keep you updated on as a board is just where we are with our vaccine rollout and support. We continue to work with our authorizers as well as with Sacramento County Office of Ed to provide information regarding vaccine clinics for all of our staff. I will tell you, a number of our staff have been vaccinated through our various locations such as Cal Expo, the other county sites, as well as, the urgent care, and then a number of the clinics such as at Rio Linda High School and Del Campo High School. So again, we're really partnering with our authorizers on these things. So we continue to have our survey. Again, it's anonymous, confidential, survey that is sent to all staff just to receive feedback in terms of what they are experiencing. As of our last survey with 358 respondents, you'll remember our previous survey was about 300 respondents. So about another 58 staff members have responded. 81% of the respondents plan to have or have actually already taken the vaccine. 19% of the respondents do not plan to or are undecided at this time. 22% of our respondents have received their first dose, and 78% of the respondents have received their first and second dose. And I will tell you, we measured when they're going to get that within the next 5 days, because we know a number of our staff actually had their first dose around this week. And so we even, for our central office, had to adjust the meeting because we knew that our staff would be going to receive their second dose at the end of this week. We continue to provide weekly as well as timely information and share it with all the staff. And those staff members who reach out to us and say that they're having struggles getting an appointment or they need more support, we're right there working with them, supporting them, getting the information as quick as we can, even in terms of giving them direct information about vaccine clinics so that they feel supported. And then we continue to partner with our authorizers, with the CSDC, CCSA, SCOE, YOCOE, SCDPH, YCPH, and as Dr. Peterson usually would say, and all the rest of the alphabet soup. Yeah. But we do continue to work with each of them to get the information. Dr. McCormick.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Sample. So as we continue to learn more about the Assembly bill, we have added some new reporting requirements. Those started this week, and they have really defined the definition of in-person learning learning, hybrid learning, and distance learning. And the goal being that we want to move as many students as possible into this new in-person learning definition, which is the ability to attend school 5 days a week. And as Dr. Peterson shared, we have some new information around spacing, which will help us get closer and closer to some of the new definitions and move us forward. The exciting news, as we heard already, is we are open, and we have now opened with all of our grade levels, TK through 12, on all of our sites. And it's a great place to be on campuses to hear student voices, and teachers are excited and staff is excited to be back. So we are excited to share that great news. I wanted to give you just a little bit of insight now that we have been open on the percentage of students that are attending what is now defined as hybrid learning, which is that mix of distance learning and being on campus. So we have some great numbers here from some of our K-8 programs, and continuing to work with our high schools. Our high schools just opened yesterday, and all the new guidance. So we look forward to continuing those conversations and helping our families understand that school's open, and excited to have their students back. And that is the end of our presentation. So we're happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Any questions, board members, before I ask mine? Do you think the 3 feet apart is going to make an impact with some of our parents who might have thought of sending the kids back with 6 feet apart instead of 3? I know there are parents who are still reluctant to send the kids back. And I'm just wondering if the 3 feet will make a difference still. Do you know, Christine?
Many of our schools have 4 feet because that was our minimum with our last guidance. So I have not talked to principals specifically around whether the 3 feet are made a difference. We're really now talking about how that makes a difference in furniture, but it would be interesting. That's a good question to ask.
Okay. Anything else, board members, from update? And you will let us, or let me know, Dr. Peterson, when you feel it is safe for us to start visiting some of the schools. And I know I had asked that question and it wasn't quite appropriate at the time. So you will, after things settle down, or give us the okay when it's time.
Yeah, I would say there are a couple of sides to that. And I'll talk through it with Mr. Sample and Dr. McCormick in regards to what the county believes. And I think there are 2 sides of it. I mean, honestly, we can be 6 feet away as adults from the children. We have to be 6 feet away from adults and other adults and children, and we have to mask still. And anyone who is in a protected class, I would say needs to be sure that they have their vaccines, before we would hold such a conversation as well.
Okay.
So, but I will talk with Dr. McCormick and Dr. McCormick. I'm sorry, Dr. McCormick and Dr. McCormick and Sample, and we'll get back to you on that.
Okay, great. Just I'm anxious. That's all. Jack, did I see your hand?
You did. I appreciate the update. Is it possible on a weekly basis to have Melissa kind of give us, along with the enrollment, to give us the percentages, how's it going with the number of students that are in attendance? It would just be nice to see that and not have to wait till the next board meeting.
I just want to be sure, because when you say how's it going, that's a little vague, but
No,
just the numbers. Just the numbers.
The numbers, that percentage number. I'm just interested in seeing if there is, as it goes on and it's really working, if there's a significant uptick in the percentage of students that are doing on-site learning.
Yeah, good question. Okay. Anything else, board members? Any other comments? Thank you so much, Dr. McCormick and Mr. Sample, for keeping us updated on where we are and how things are going. So with that, we are now going into our consent agenda items, board members. And I will go through them. Number one, adoption of the board meeting minutes, March the 9th. Personnel consent agenda, special education specialist, day class job description, maintenance technician job description, licensed vocational nurse job description revised, athletic director job description revised, and data cost offset stipend. And those are the consent agenda items, and I will entertain a motion. Yes,
Move
Mr.
approval.
Turner. Move approval. Second. Mr. Anderson, you're muted. Okay. Do I have a second? I think you were
I'll
trying.
second. I second it. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
second. All right. Do we have any discussion on any of the items for the consent agenda? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Campbell, yes. The consent items approved unanimously. Thank you. And now we are moving into item 10 under facilities, which is a lease agreement, 5400 Power Inn Road, Sacramento. And we've had information on that, so we know what it's about. And now I will entertain a motion to approve the lease agreement for 54 Power Inn Road.
I'll move
Yes.
approval.
Mr. Mandrick, the motion's been made, move approval.
Second.
Second, it has been moved and second that we approve the lease agreement. Do we have any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing or hearing none, roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Campbell, yes, approved. Okay, facilities, item 10 approved. And now we're going into item 12, personnel.
Madam President, before we go into 12,
Yes,
can I just for the record ensure that the recommendation as written in your agenda is what you just approved and voted on, which was that you were approving the lease agreement and designating the superintendent to execute the final lease agreement, including any possible minor revisions. Can I just confirm that's what the board was
that
voting on?
is correct. And I'm sorry I didn't make that totally clear on that item. But we had said that we would also give the superintendent the responsibility to do what is necessary to make sure that the lease is what you want, what we want it to be in agreement.
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay. And under item 12 personnel, there are 5 items, and I think we will take them one at a time. It has been in your backup, so we've all had a chance to read it. So we'll start off with item 1, and that's the 2021 pandemic on-site direct support stipend. And we will need motions and seconds for all of these items. Yes, Mr. Turner. Ms. Sanders, that's our remark.
I'll
You move,
a motion. Yes. Sorry.
okay, you move.
I'll second.
And the second, okay. Any discussion on item number 1? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Campbell, yes. Item 1 approved. Moving to item 2. 2021 summer school pandemic on-site direct support stipend. Yes, Mr. Mandrick?
Move approval.
Move approval, thank you. Mr. Block?
Second.
All right, it has been moved in second And we ask for discussion. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, hearing none, roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Campbell, yes. Thank you. Item number 3, teacher induction program stipends revised. Motion on that item.
So moved.
So moved, Mr. Anderson. Second, Mr. Block.
Yes.
All right, moved in second. Any discussion? Questions or discussion on that item? Thank you guys for reading. Thank you. All right, roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Campbell, yes. Motion approved. All right. The next item is summer school leadership stipend revised. Again, you did see that, and I do have a question. All right, I'll entertain a motion on that, please, because I do have a question.
I move approval.
Move approval, Mr. Turner.
Second.
Second. Okay, discussion. I do have one question on the financial impact. It said $5,000, 1,500 per week. Is the 5,000 for the week or for, I'm not quite sure how that plays
Well,
out.
I'm not sure how the impact was figured out, but the stipend itself is 1,500 per week.
Okay,
So the what that was previously was 4,500 for whatever it was. If you were a month, if you were 6 weeks, it was 4,500.
yeah,
And so I'm assuming that what the 5,000 is supposed to represent is that it's approximately that much more than it previously was. Is that what
That much more.
Mr. Let's make sure
yeah,
Dr.
because I
McCormick or
wasn't, I
Mr.
was trying to
Business.
figure it out per week. I knew it was 1,500 per week, but I didn't know quite how we came to the 5,000.
Yeah, we were absolutely what Dr. Peterson shared. We were trying to estimate with the difference, especially in our new summer school model, what approximately it would be more. And I'll let Mr. Thornsberry add any more to that if you
So
want.
that it's that much per summer school administrator difference.
Different.
So it's not that much budget wise, it's that much times however many summer school administrators we have to have. It will be 5,000 approximately, depending on how many weeks each of those are,
Yeah,
but approximately 5,000 more will be spent per summer school to pay for the administration of it.
okay, per summer school, okay, all right. Okay. Any other comments or questions on that item from anyone? Hearing none, seeing none, then I will call for a vote. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Campbell, yes. And the last item will be the 2021-2022 salary schedule. And that was also in our backup and all of the information. So I will entertain a motion for approval of the 21-22 salary schedule. Mr. Anderson,
I so move.
so move.
Second.
Second, Mr. Turner. Any discussion on that item? Yes, Mr. Turner.
I just wanted to comment. I remember the days when it was easy to read salary schedules. And I'm going to have to take a 3-unit class, I think, in reading some of these salary schedules, but I really support it. It's something you really have to delve into to understand.
Yes. And if you have any questions, the staff is always available to help us understand. So
I know, I do understand, and I have in the past asked questions.
Great. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, roll call. Mr. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Block,
Yes.
Mr. Mandrick,
Yes.
Mr. Turner,
Yes.
Campbell, yes. So that item has been approved unanimously. And again, I want to really thank my board members for doing your due diligence and reading the information that is given to you and asking questions if there needs to be. It's a lot to do, and I thank you and I appreciate you so that we can move through our agenda expediently. So thank you very much. And now we are open for board comments. Yes, Mr. Turner.
I just want to say it was an excellent board meeting. And I don't know how we do this, but I think I speak for the entire board. Is there any way that we can communicate to our staff, both certificated and classified, how we appreciate their work, not only through when we were doing distance learning, but now that they're going back in person learning? It's got to be a significant year for them. And I don't know how we communicate it, beyond just a salary schedule or stipends, but some sort of vote of appreciation. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out.
This,
Okay.
Friday, Mr. Sample and I are working on a Friday communication before we go into spring break. That's going to kind of recognize some of the things that you just talked about, and we will overtly, Mr. Sample, we will overtly let staff know, because it's an all staff communication, that the board specifically noted that they wanted to recognize everyone's hard work and sacrifice through these difficult times, if that would meet your need, Jack.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Jack, I have done that on several occasions. I have written comments and tagged on to something that has been sent out by Jason, how much the board appreciates all of the hard work. So I've done a couple of those over this year. So just to the staff and say to all staff members, how much we appreciate you as a board. So,
yeah, that's better done, through an official communication, like
yes.
an all call out like that I do, as opposed, that way we can make sure it gets to all the people you would like to hear it.
Okay. Any other board?
I thought Mark also had a comment.
Where's Mark? Oh, there you are, Mark. Thank you.
Sorry, I know this is kind of a leap for us as board members, but I thought it was very touching what the various staffs did in thanking us. I watched the 2 days of the retreat, and it was very nice for them to do that. Using technology, maybe what kind of tagging on to what Jack was saying, maybe it makes sense for us at some point to think about personalizing our thank yous and have that go out collectively to the staff as well.
Well, I tell you what I will do. I will task Jason's team, because they are good at that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And we can arrange maybe a Zoom like this that's recorded, where you decide what kind of message you want to give, and we can send that out to the all staff if you would like. But it takes a little bit of coordination. But Mark,
Sure.
I think that's an amazing idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for board comments? So please, and when you write up your notes, I usually say, please make sure staff understands how much we appreciate them when you do follow up with your notes.
And recognize that while you may not see them on the screen,
Right.
many of our administrators are listening right now as we live stream across YouTube. So they may have heard your thank you right there already, and your desire to do something to message them. So that would be also a way that they can be thanked.
Thank you. All right, announce the next board meeting. I have the next board meeting, April the 20th.
Yes,
Am I
ma'am.
correct? All
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
So that means next week we are going on break. We will be having our spring break. And I do hope and pray that all of the staff will take some time for yourselves, get some rest, and just enjoy a few days of rest, recuperation, your families, health, and safety. So anything else, board members, for the staff and enjoying the spring break?
Hopefully you can get outside and enjoy it.
Yeah, if the wind dies down some.
Right.
Any other comments, board members? Staff? And again, I didn't thank, and you mentioned, Dr. Peterson, everyone who's been with us tonight virtually, thank you for being with us. Staff members and administrators and whomever's there, we appreciate your being with us during board meeting. And when you go on vacation, those who are going on vacation, be safe and be happy. So with that, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
So move, Mr. Block.
Second.
It has been second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meetings